Okay, so we know that Sunday racing isn't always competitive, star-studded, attractive, etc. But this Sunday is absolutely all of that. It really is. It's fantastic. We've got 4 ITV races from Cheltenham. We've got the ridiculously good Morgiana from Punchestown. We've got an ITV race from Fontwell. Various other bits and pieces. On the fringe runs at Cork, you name it. It really, really is. It's a great day's racing. And we'll start our previews of the Sunday action with the 150 at Cheltenham. It's the Racing Post Arkle Trophy Trial Novices Chase. Over 2 miles. 4 runners, but 4 real good ones. How do we bet, Tom Nugent?
Yeah, really hot race. This River Wild is our 5 to 6 favourite at the moment. North Hill Harvey is next in at 5 to 2. Capitane is next in at 4 to 1, and Aussie the Oscar is the 16 to 1 outsider of the 4.
James, I know there's been a lot about small runner novice chases, and sometimes they're not that exciting, but this is a beauty, isn't it?
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be a good race at the 5-day stage, and whilst there's no Finian's Oscar, it's 4 runners, 4 quality horses. And North Hill Harvey, I thought, was very impressive when he won at Cheltenham last time. Beat Sco Royal, who was 6th in the champion hurdle. I don't think there's quite anything of that quality against him here. If he jumps as well as he did over the course last time, he's going to take some beating.
North Hill Harvey for James. Who for you, DJ?
I'm a big fan of Capitan, and I think he's probably the overpriced one here, the overlooked one. He's 2 from 2 over fences. He was always going to be much better over fences than he was over hurdles. River Wild obviously has that supreme form to come into play, but I was really impressed by Capitan at Market Raising. He was in his own gear throughout. He never looked in any danger. It wasn't as bad a race as a Market Raising novice chase might look on paper. I thought he was very good at Newton Abbott before that. Like, he's probably, this is his cup final. He's not going to be winning Arkle. I'd say he'd be tuned up to the minute for this. Nichol's a good record in the race, and yeah, I think Capitan is probably the one that's overlooked.
Who do you fancy, Tom?
Yeah, I just can't see past the favourite, to be honest. I think River Wild, as David mentioned there, that supreme form is absolutely sharp as attack. He's 12 to 1 for the Arkle at the festival at the moment, and I'd say that could collapse a fair bit. It was impressive there on Sunday.
There you go, 4 runners. We managed to tip 3 of them. That was handy. 2:25. It's the Schlur Chase. 2 miles, and potential consolation here for the Cloudy Dream team, who obviously had that, moment of confusion where they entered him for the wrong race, but they did leave him in for the Schlur, or rather the Schlur reopened. So handily he's in there, but the favourite is, of course, Fox Norton from Colin Tees. I was just how short is he at the moment, Tom?
Yeah, we're 5 to 4 about Fox Norton there at the moment. Special Tiara is your 5 to 2 second favourite. Cloudy Dream, as you mentioned, is 9 to 2 next in. Simply Ned is 10s, Banatu 12s, and it's 14 to 1 Sir Valentino.
Okay, so Fox Norton favourite. James, fancy that?
Yeah, I think so, Bruce. He's won first time out for the last 2 seasons. We know what a good horse he is, second in the champion chase. Cloudy Dream is very talented, and he's had a run. I'm just not quite sure what his best trip is. And I mean, he could be one of these horses, until he just calms down a bit, that could be a bit tripless. So Fox Norton for me, very impressive in the race last year. I think he can do it again.
DJ?
He's the one horse I'm not sure about going into this season. I did a kind of a Q&A saying which horse will look a ridiculous price for one of the championship races come March. And I put down Fox Norton just because he's not a horse I ever had much affection for. And while he's done plenty, I just wonder, will he get found out this season? And by process of elimination, the one I came up with was Cloudy Dream. It mightn't be his best trip, but he's had that run under his belt. And there's so many ifs and buts about these. Like, Special Tiara obviously doesn't do his thing this time of year. I think he's much better come March. I think Cloudy Dream, they will go with Special Tiara in there and so much pace in there. They are going to go fast. It might play into a stare, and it fits there. So Cloudy Dream for me.
David, when you're down in Australia, you've always been very precise about this trip or that trip. They run them over all sorts of trips down there. Has that changed your thinking about, trip specifics for particular horses?
Yeah, and it's obviously metres as well. So you're trying to get your head around metres, and even as many times as people tell you how many metres in a furlong and all that kind of stuff, it's hard to get your head around it. Yeah, they're not afraid. Like, just say Winks, for example, being aimed at Queen Anne. To me, she looks like she's an out-and-out 10 furlong horse, yet they think mile would be no problem. So trip doesn't seem to matter that much to trainers down there.
No, you look at Mo Farah, 5,000, 10,000, they'll come alike to him, don't they? Tom, who do you like in the Schlur?
Yeah, I'm with David there. I think Cloudy Dream by process of elimination, as he said. I think 5 to 4 about Fox Norton is absolutely insane. Specialty hour without a run doesn't do it for me. I think with benefit of a run, I think Cloudy Dream is the one at 9-2.
Righto, let's look at the 3 o'clock, the Unibet Greatwood Handicap Chase. This is going to be an absolute cracker. Tons of runners, class acts, Trump hurdle winners, you name it. And of course, the new one. Good old the new one, top in the weights. He's 16-1. That would bring the house down. Favourite, though, is Nicky Henderson's Jenkins. Tom, what's the latest there?
Yeah, we're 4-1 Fav Jenkins at the moment. My Hyed is 6-1 next in. London Prize 8-1. Misterton 9-1. Tigris River, the Galway hurdle winner. 10s. Ivanovic Gorbachev 12-1 alongside Chesterfield and Elgin and Nietzsche, and it's 14-1 bar.
Are you going to be smashing up the Fav, Tom, or looking elsewhere?
No, I'm a big Tigris River fan, and I'm just looking at the moment. The prices have collapsed just after Dex on the two Tigris River and Ivanovic Gorbachev. I think Tigris River for me here. I'm gonna side with the Galway hurdle winner.
DJ, what's your fancy?
Probably Jenkins, to be honest, because I think he's well handicapped. I thought it was funny listening to Nicky Henderson talking about how he's handicapped on his reputation, but I think deep down he's saying to himself, I thought this was my Supreme Novice hurdle winner last year, so he could have 2 stone in hand. And I think you'll know your fate with Jenkins after 1 hurdle. I promise you that. If he's good over the first and he gets into a rhythm, he's going to be very, very hard to beat. Like, for the new one to give this horse so much weight is almost an impossible task, I think. Again, like the big race on Saturday, I don't think it's the best renewal of the race. And, like, I know we're guessing with Jenkins. We're completely guessing. But I think by the end of the season, he could be rated in the 150s. So with that in mind, he looks the one. Like.
So what would be the worrying sign for you then, if you're looking at, with an in-running play in mind, David? At what point would you start thinking, hang on a sec, this isn't going to be his day?
As early as you can get. If you have a look at his run at Kempton on Boxing Day last year, like, he was favoured for that good novice hurdle that day, and he went off 1-2. And after 2 hurdles, you're going, there's something wrong here. Somebody said he jumped like an ironing board. I love that analogy because he's very clumsy, and he's just not the finished article yet. But apparently at home, he has turned inside out in the last couple of months. They can't believe the difference. They finally got the real Jenkins back. And, you know, the real Jenkins is pretty good. If you go back to his bumper win at Newbury, that was a hell of a performance, I thought. I think he could be very good. I think he could be very well handicapped. And I hate tipping a favourite in a big handicap hurdle, but I think he'll win. He's
a bit of a puzzle, James, isn't he? Going to go with him or against him?
Yeah, I think I'd go against him. I mean, he's got a lot to prove for me. He had a disappointing season last term. Okay, you could say on ability he's well treated, but he's got to do a bit more on the track to be at the price he is. I personally do think this is another very competitive race, the Greatwood. I mean, it always is pretty hot. You can get champion hurdle contenders coming out of it. I think one such horse is Tigris River, the Galway hurdle winner. I thought that was a very good race this year. The Galway hurdle, he beat a proper dual-purpose horse in Swamp Fox. Form's generally worked out very well. I see he's also got an entry in the Grade 1 Hatton's Grace. And he's on the same mark as he is back home, so I'm going to go with him.
2 votes.
Just one thing, Bruce, sorry, on Tigris River. If you do like Tigris River, I wouldn't put anybody off having a sneaky, small, very small few quid in him for the stayers hurdle, because I think Joseph thinks he's an out-and-out stayer, and I think Joseph would love to have a crack at a race like that. So he could be a ridiculous price. If you did fancy him, just don't be surprised if he ended up there.
Do you know James Pyman told me to back for the stayers hurdle this week? See if you can guess. Q card.
Jeez.
He said, he said if his jumping doesn't improve, they might just think we'll smash him over the back over hurdles, and he could be a good thing. So left field selection for sure. 3:30 at Cheltenham, the other ITV4 race is the Sky Bet Supreme Trial, and 5 runners, but it looks like it's got a match between the Henderson and Tizard yards, doesn't it, Tom?
That's right. Dame de Company is now our 10-11 favourite there from even money for Nicky Henderson and Barry Geraghty. Slate House, the big hype horse from the Cheltenham sale, of course, made £260,000, is our 7-4 second fav. Bedrock is next in at 10s. Better Get Along alongside at 10-1s too. And Somerville Boy is the 25-1 outsider.
Slate House was impressive last time, James. You going to stick with him or go with the Hendo?
Well, the Hendo horse, Dame de Company, was also very impressive at Utoxeter. 2 nice novices. I think with the course form, more of a kind of jumping type, I'm going to go with Slate House. I'm hoping for a bit more improvement on his run. at Cheltenham last time, and he looks like he could be very exciting. He could go far.
DJ?
Well, either James is going to have a good weekend or I'm going to have a good weekend because we're taking each other on the whole time. I'm going to go for Jane de Compiègne. She was awesome, I thought, at Uttoxeter. And the funny thing is, it reminded me so much when Barry Geraghty rode Yanworth as a novice, because Yanworth was winning all these races around Exeter by a length and a half. But really, you were thinking to yourself, this could have won by 20 lengths, never mind a length and a half. And I got that impression with Dame de Compiègne at Uttoxeter. Of all the videos I watched when I come back, I was kind of going, oh, wow, I wonder where she's going to go next. So I'm delighted to see her turning up here. She looks like she could have a touch of class. And, yeah, I'm going to take Dame de Compiègne to beat Slade House.
And, Tom, who do you like here?
I'm going to stick with Slade House.
OK. Do you want to elaborate on that? Or?
Well, a lot of it, I come from a place that will be fairly involved in point-to-point racing. A lot of the point-to-point men say that he's one of the best they've ever seen. So hopefully he might prove them right.
OK, that's good. That's all I needed. A little more time for the 205 at Fontwell to load, because that's the race we're going to look at next. It's the 3 mile, 3.5 furlongs, about 20 laps of the figure of 8 there. The Topol Southern National Handicap Chase, live on ITV4. Cracking little place, Fontwell. If you've never been and you live in the south of England, get yourself down there this weekend. You will not regret it. It's a lovely place. And this is their big race. And what's the latest betting from Paddy Power, Tom?
Yeah, Shelford is our 11-4 favourite at the moment. Rathlin Rose is next in at 5-1 alongside Fergal Muel Doon. Moss Park is in there at 7-1. Cresswell Breeze is 8-1. Cyclop is 10s and it's 11-1 bar.
You had a study up here, David?
Yeah, well, I backed Fergal Muel Doon in this race last year, and it was excruciating viewing because, as you know, they do bloody more laps than Mo Farah does. Like he was in front. You're kind of thinking the whole way through the race that he was probably going to win, and then they've 2 to jump and he's still in front, and then he gets run down really late after watching 3 miles and 2 furlongs. He gets headed in the final furlong. He was second to Ariel off 125. He's £4 lower now, and I have a feeling Colin Tizard after going so close. Like with a horse like Fergal Muel Doon, there's only so much you can do with him. There's only so many races you can aim him at. And given how well he ran the race last year, given how much he loved Fontwell, I'd say this has been the target. He's £4 lower now, and I'd say he'll be pretty difficult to beat off 121.
OK, they'll be doing about a mile on Fibersound, won't they? Of course, that bottom bend now at Fontwell is really it's very heavily all weather. It really is. So check out some Southwell form, perhaps. Who do you like, James?
I like the horse who finished a place behind Fergal Muel Doon in this race last year. That's Cyclop. And I actually think he would have finished second had he not made a mistake. I think it was about 4 fences, 3 fences out, just when they were quickening the pace. Jumps well, Cyclop. He doesn't win that often, but it's generally because he's been relatively consistent and has been racing off 2 higher marks. I think he's as much as £9 lower than last year. And I see Leighton Aspel's been booked. He knows a thing or two about winning nationals. So I can see him going really well off a nice lightweight.
Tom, do you have a strong fancy?
Nothing too strong, just from a betting perspective. Cresswell Breeze is a bit of a mover, 16-1 into 8-1. He's the capability to go well, relatively fresh. So I'd give him a chance, but haven't studied too hard on it now, to be honest.
Well, let's turn our attention then, without further ado, to the 2:15 at Punchestown on Sunday. It's the Unibet Morgiana Hurdle, and when Tom goes through the names of the 5 runners with their prices, you will realise what a quality renewal this is.
Yes, Faugheen is our 8-11 favourite at the moment. Campiador on the drift out to 5-1, our second favourite at the moment, alongside Jeski. And Vroom Vroom Mag 6-1 next in. Swamp Fox is the 20-1 outsider.
Oh, it's enough to make you swoon, isn't it, James? What a lineup! It really is absolutely superb, isn't it?
Fantastic, and fantastic to have Faugheen back. We've really missed him. It's been a while since we've last seen him. Usually he tends to improve for his first run. If you remember, he got beaten in this race a couple of years ago by Nichols Canyon.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big shock. But I can't help thinking that he's going to need to be pretty straight here. He'll have been on the go in terms of road work and fitness and so on for a long time now. So I think he will be pretty fit. And just really, in terms of quality, he is the best horse in the race. So yes, his price is a bit short, but I'm not going to desert him.
David, do we watch this or do we bet on it? What's the latest vibe from the Mullins camp on Faugheen's fitness?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, let's be honest about it. We haven't a clue what's going to happen here because anybody that has a strong fancy, we're just guessing. Because if Faugheen is 80% of the real Faheen, he wins. Do we know he's as good as he was? We haven't a clue. Listening to Ruby, spoke to Ruby about a month ago at the launch of the Dublin Racing Festival, maybe it's 6 weeks ago now, and he was waxing lyrical about Faheen. He goes, Faheen looks every bit as good as he was. Everything he's doing was as good as he was. We couldn't be happier with him. And the fact that he's running, I think it's obviously key. So he'll probably win. But would I be shocked if he was beaten and got tired in the home straight? No, I wouldn't. What do I think is going to beat him if that happens? I think probably Campeador. Little bit surprised to see Mark Walsh on jet ski instead of Campeador. You probably know what you get from jet ski. He's not as good as he was. He wouldn't beat Faheen even when he was at his best. So I just wouldn't be reading too much into his return win at Tipperary, even though he's expected to come on first. Campeador is the one exciting up-and-coming horse in the race. He's only 5. He travels like a dream. But Faheen will probably win, but I don't know how anybody could have a bet in this race.
David, you've done some fantastic, eloquent, descriptive race previews in your time on the Postcast. That wasn't your best, was it? No one's got a clue, but you think it's significant that Faheen's running. Thanks very much for that.
But it's the most exciting race of the season so far.
Absolutely, it certainly is. And don't forget, obviously, Willie Mullins is back in the Racing Post on Saturday. Hopefully, he will be able to give us the latest on how Faheen is going. And also Sam Twiston-Davies's column's back. Poor old Sam, obviously nursing that broken elbow. But loads of great stuff to read in the Saturday Racing Post. Tom Nugent, what are you going to be doing here? Watching and admiring, or watching, admiring and betting?
Yeah, probably not betting, watching and admiring and hoping to God we see the Faheen of old. I mean, a horse like this has the capacity to kind of put racing on the front pages in the UK and in Ireland. We're very, very lucky in Ireland to have 2 great cards in Punchestown, but he is 2 great cards in Punchestown this weekend, but he is the absolute highlight, and hopefully he's back to his 176 rated old self.
Absolutely. It'd be certainly interesting to see what happens to the old champion hurdle market, won't it, if he does dot up. Right, anything else we like on Sunday? James, anything?
Yeah, a few from Cheltenham. And it's taken me, I've had to practice this name because it's taken me a while to get it. Sonny Tellier-Tagan in the opening race of 1:15. Ran very well at Cheltenham earlier in the season, over 2 miles, and was staying on that day. Needed a step up in trip. Got it at Sandown next time and finished a bit close to the winner. He was second. He looks to be progressive, and providing there's not too much rain on Saturday, if he gets the good ground he wants, he should go well for Ian Williams, who's in terrific form.
He certainly is.
And I'll just say there's one more in the last race, the 4 o'clock, Crooks Peak, Philip Hobbs. Very impressive winner at Newton Abbott, beating some decent types there. I mean, this is obviously much hotter, but he looked a real strong galloping type. And I think he could go well. So Crooks Peak in the last. Just
the 24 runners there. OK, DJ, anything else for us on Sunday?
I'm laughing the way James can pronounce that horse, and he can't pronounce Turles. It's a cracking card at Punchestown. I think everybody is going to get sucked into the presenting Percy buzz, and everybody thinks he's going to win the RSA and win the Gold Cup next year. I just still have my doubts. That race at Galway is a tricky one. It hasn't worked out well in the last couple of years, and it kind of fell apart a little bit this year as well. For all that he was brilliant, I'm going to be taking him on with Shattered Love, who I think could be a star over fences. She gets the weight, obviously. She gets the mare's allowance.
Which race is this, David?
The 140 at Punchestown.
OK.
That's the Florida Pearl Novice Chase, yeah. So I'm going to be taking on presenting Percy with Shattered Love, who's a 136 rated hurdler, ran in the Neptune. They thought she was good enough to run in the Neptune against the boys. She's a gorgeous, big, strapping mare. You'd fall in love with her. So I'm going to be taking on presenting Percy with Shattered Love. I think Tombstone will win the 105. I think he's a rock-solid favourite. He's a little bit soft, but he's better than these that he's run against in the 105. I think it's going to be a great day for Gordon Elliott again. And I think Gordon might even win the 250, the handicap hurdle, with Hollow Tree, who's obviously had his best days are behind him. I think he was a Grade 1 winner over hurdles earlier on in his career. But he's rated 112. He's getting a little bit better. So I think it'll be another great day for Gordon, but I do strongly fancy Shattered Love in the 140.
And Tom, what have you got for us?
Yeah, I was just going to give the 2 novice chases a shout out as well, and Shattered Love was the one for me. Just couldn't have presented Percy at 11-10, and I think she has a right chance. She's 7-2 now from 5-1. She's been relatively well backed, and I think she's still a price at 7-2.
OK, all about watching racing this weekend. James, you getting down there at all?
Afraid not, Briss. No, I'm going to be working tomorrow, and got a family do. Lots of aunts, uncles, and cousins on Sunday.
Oh no!
So try and get away from.
How does that work? Do you have a few bets on the app and just watch the races, or do you sneak off, or do you just record it all to watch later?
Well, maybe I'll just record it all and watch it later.
Have you got? Do any of those elderly relatives ask you stupid questions about racing, or are they all really knowledgeable?
No, they'll all be asking me. Well, I don't want to be rude about it. They're not silly questions, but yeah, I wouldn't call them knowledgeable.
Okay, fine. Yeah. All right, that sounds like a bit of a test for you there, James, I've got to say. DJ, what are you going to be doing? I suppose, really, you owe E for all sorts of love and attention having been away for 5 weeks, don't you?
Well, I'm working both days and I can't wait. I think this is one of these weekends where you kind of go to yourself, you know the way teachers and like people who work in offices all weekend, they're crying out for Friday to have the weekend off. I'm absolutely delighted I'm working this weekend. I'm working both days, be in Punchestown, and like just to see Faugheen return. Like I'm getting paid to watch Faugheen running. Doesn't get better than that.
Stuff.
Like.
That's good. And does everyone crowd around the tellies in the press room when the Cheltenham races are on as well? Is there a good old crack there, yeah?
Oh yeah. Everybody like it's a funny kind of place, the press room. Like I'm sure people are having bets left, right, and centre, but it stays very quiet because you get if you ever cheer on a horse that you back in the press room, you get so much abuse for it. So you just have to stay really quiet.
Why do you?
I don't know. It's just an Irish press room routine.
Who's the main one? Justin. Will Justin dish out the abuse?
Justin would give his arse a little bit of a crack with 100 yards to go if he back. You'd know if Justin backed the winner. You'd know. You would know.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, you definitely would
know.
So
2 nice days at Punchestown for you. And what about you, Tom?
Just Sunday in Punchestown for me, working, so looking forward to that.
Jolly good. OK, thank you very much, chaps. That's great stuff. Do join Maddie on Monday to look back on this fantastic weekend. Thank you very much for watching or listening. Good luck with your bets, and we're back next Friday too.
Paddy Power are offering money back as a free bet if the horse you back finishes 2nd, 3rd or 4th to the SP favourite in at least 2 races every day this month. Max £25 per race. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.